Hi, welcome to The Body Culture, an exploration of the intersection of anthropology, culture, and medicine in contemporary emerging societies.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Body Culture channel. My name is Michalina and today I am going to discuss how Ramadan, a holy month of fasting, influences lives of those Muslims who suffer from diabetes. I will see what kind of challenges face diabetes patients during Ramadan, and I will try to determine whether the problem of fasting and diabetes is in any way recognized and addressed by local Muslim communities and diabetes organizations or not.
Michalina, what's the link between diabetes and Ramadan?
The link between diabetes and Ramadan is quite simple. First of all, according to the International Diabetes Federation, 387 million people in the world have diabetes, and this number includes more than 37 million people in the Middle East and North Africa. So, as a result, the MENA region, which is overwhelmingly Muslim, has the world's highest comparative prevalence of diabetes. On the other hand, Ramadan, a holy month of Islam, is a time during which Muslim people are supposed to abstain from eating and drinking from the sunrise until the sunset. And here is where the problem begins, since diabetes patients, people with diabetes, have to follow some quite restrictive and quite specific diet patterns. And during Ramadan, it's quite difficult. And during that time, the pattern of the meal and fluid intake can be heavily altered, which, as a result, can lead to some very serious complications.
What kind of challenges does fasting pose to patients with diabetes?
I guess that one of the biggest challenges of Ramadan is the amount of food that is consumed by Muslim people during iftar, which is the first meal after the sunset, and during suhoor, which is the last meal before the sunrise. And this food is very rich in carbs, which as a result can lead to high blood sugar in people with diabetes. Another problem are high temperatures in the MENA region and long hours of daylight. And in that regard, Ramadan has become recently particularly challenging. Why? Because Ramadan is a lunar month, and as a lunar month, it moves through the seasons, and now it takes place in summer. So high temperatures combined with long hours of fasting can lead very easily to dehydration. And additionally, long hours of daylight can be particularly difficult to those Muslim people who happen to live in such areas like, let's say, for example, Canada or Scandinavian countries. For all those reasons, Ramadan is a very challenging period to people with diabetes, because it can easily, all those hardships can easily lead to a kind of a metabolic imbalance, which can be very dangerous to their lives. And for that reason, in general, fasting during Ramadan is discouraged by healthcare professionals to people with diabetes. However, according to the epidemiology of diabetes and Ramadan study, some 40 to 50 million of people actually fast during Ramadan. And if we pair it with another fact, with another estimation, this time this estimation was made by the International Diabetes Federation, the number of people with diabetes in the MENA region will reach around 68 million people by 2035. So at this moment we have a very serious problem, and I guess that this problem has to be properly addressed.
You mentioned that despite healthcare professionals advising the diabetes patients against fasting during Ramadan, some 40 to 50 million people with diabetes worldwide fast during that time. Does it mean that fasting is obligatory even for them?
No, of course, during Ramadan, fasting is not obligatory for people with diabetes. Actually, it is stated in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, that particularly the sick are not obliged to fast. It is clearly stated in that surah that people who are sick, and that also means people with diabetes, don't have to fast during Ramadan, and there are some other ways for them to make up for those days when they are not able to fast.
So, please tell us why so many diabetes patients decide to fast during Ramadan after all?
Well, it's a very interesting question actually, and I've been wondering why. And I guess I came to a conclusion that it's not only about religion. I mean, of course, religious reasons play a major role in that regard. But I also think it's about the social impact of Ramadan and also about some personal habits. Ramadan is actually is a very important time to each Muslim. And it's not only about fasting, it's also about meeting your relatives, your friends during iftar and suhoor. It's about sharing a meal, it's about meeting your friends, it's about having a conversation with them. So we have to remember about that entire social impact of Ramadan. Also, we also need to remember that sometimes, in many cases actually, people find out that they have this condition, I mean diabetes, when they are already adult people, like when they're, for example, 40, 50, 60 years old. And let's say that we have a person that is already 60 years old, and that person has been fasting for his or her entire life. And suddenly she or he finds out that there is that condition and that she or he actually has it. And for them it's very difficult to understand, or maybe to alter their lifestyle, all their beliefs and all their habits.
Is the problem you mentioned recognized by local Muslim communities and national diabetes federations?
Yes, the problem in general is recognized and addressed by diabetes organizations, and in order to better illustrate how this issue is addressed by those organizations, I would like to compare diabetes organizations from two countries, namely from Great Britain and from Kuwait. One could ask why Great Britain and why Kuwait? The reason is simple. First of all, Great Britain has a huge population of Muslim people. As for Kuwait, this country has a very high rate of diabetes patients among adult people. And this rate is at this moment almost 18%. So for those two reasons, I decided to compare organizations from these two countries. And as for Great Britain, I would like to speak about Diabetes UK. And as for Kuwait, I would like to see how Kuwait Diabetes Society and Dasman Diabetes Institute deal with the issue of fasting and diabetes. I guess I will start with Diabetes UK. I checked their website and I found out that they provide plenty of useful tips and information, not only for patients or for people with diabetes, but also for imams. And for example, Diabetes UK prepared in cooperation with the Muslim Council of Britain a special guidance document for imams. And I also found out that Diabetes UK created a number of working groups in order to address the problem of fasting and diabetes. And they also published on their website, uploaded 3 videos of people, Muslim people with diabetes, who speak about why they decided to fast during Ramadan, or why they decided not to fast during Ramadan, which I guess is quite helpful and quite interesting for all those people with diabetes who are still wondering whether they should fast or not. On the top of that, the guidance document for patients with diabetes is published not only in English but also in Arabic, Bengali and Urdu, so it can reach more people. And now I would like to discuss how the problem is addressed by the Kuwaiti organizations. The first one, Kuwait Diabetes Society, published on their Instagram account a short leaflet in English with some general information about how to manage diabetes during Ramadan. And they also published 3 pictures in Arabic with some short advice about how to manage your meal or your fluid intake during Ramadan. And actually that's it. And another problem with Kuwait Diabetes Society's website is that most information about events is provided in English, which may be quite challenging for those people who don't speak English. So I guess they should also provide more information in Arabic. And as for the Dasman Diabetes Institute, their website provides very short information and very general information about how to manage diabetes during Ramadan. That information is provided both in English and Arabic. They also provide a link to an article from Diabetes Care Journal, but about how to manage diabetes during Ramadan and what kind of challenges it poses to people with diabetes. However, the problem is that the article is provided only in English, and it's also, in my opinion, too academic for those people who don't have academic background. And it's also not very useful for those local people who don't speak English at all. And additionally, Dasman Diabetes Institute organized a workshop, an open day, and a kind of seminar in a subject of diabetes and Ramadan in 2011 and 2012. And my conclusion is that in such country like as Kuwait, where this rate of people with diabetes is so high, I guess the problem should be addressed in a more detailed way, in a more informative manner.
Halina, so what should be done? How to make life of diabetes patients easier during Ramadan?
Of course, in that regard, education is crucial. For example, there are some people with diabetes who believe that checking their blood sugar level is actually equal to breaking their fast, which is not true. So that's why education, seminars, workshops, easy access to doctors and easy access to information is so important. But also, aside from education, from easy access to information, I also see some, let's say, commercial opportunities, which can actually make lives of people with diabetes a little bit easier during Ramadan. For example, there can be created a special mobile application for Ramadan for people with diabetes, and this application could remind them about checking their blood sugar level around iftar and suhoor, which are those 2 major meals during Ramadan. I also see an opportunity for catering companies, which are very popular in the GCC area. For example, they can prepare, in cooperation with professionals of course, they can prepare special Ramadan diabetes-friendly menu for iftar and suhoor. So I guess there are plenty of opportunities to make it easier for people with diabetes to deal with Ramadan, and I guess that this problem should be widely addressed since the number of people with diabetes among Muslim people will rise.
Thank you very much, and see you in next episode, inshallah.
Thank you very much.